What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ravi Wadden, and in today's video I have an amazing lease deal to share with you guys. Right now, Hyundai is offering its Hyundai Ioniq 5 SE for just $196 a month, with roughly $4,000 due at signing. So if you're looking for a brand new car for a low monthly payment, you should definitely check out this video. And if you're in the market for a Hyundai Ioniq 5, I think you'll get lots of valuable information from this video. So what we'll do in this video is we'll go to Hyundai.com and we'll check out this lease offer in detail, and I'll break it down and help you make sense of this lease deal, because I know that leases can get confusing. And then what we'll do in the second part of this video is I'll explain why this lease deal, or this lease offer as it's written on Hyundai Ioniq, on Hyundai.com, excuse me, is a good lease deal in terms of value. And then in the third part of this video, I'll show you why leasing this particular car makes a lot more financial sense than financing this particular car. So if you're on the fence about leasing, or if you don't know much about leasing, or if you're just looking for an awesome lease deal, I think you'll get lots of value from this video. So before we jump into the video, if you could like this video and if you could share it with your friends, and please be sure to follow or subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into the computer behind me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on Hyundai's website. As you can see, right now you can lease a 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5 SE, which has a starting MSRP of $45,850 for just $196 a month. It's a 33-month lease that requires $3,986 due at signing, and this does include the $7,500 EV tax credit. Hyundai states it's called the EV lease bonus, but if you were to finance this car or buy this car, you would not get this $7,500 EV tax credit, and that's why leasing this particular car makes a lot of sense. Now, if you look over here to the left-hand side, you'll see that you can also lease an SE standard range or a SEL or a limited, but based on my calculations, the SE is the sweet spot in terms of value, and at $196 a month, it's a great car, and it's a lot of car for this price. Now, you'll see that this offer ends in one day, so it's just valid for today, but I think they will continue this lease deal through the rest of September. But let's go ahead and read the fine print on this car. As I already mentioned, it is a 33-month lease that requires $3,986 due at signing. And this $3,986, a lot of people read this and they say, oh, this is all I have to put down. But remember, this excludes registration, tax, title, license, processing, and other documentation fees. So, you could be easily looking at an additional $2,000, I would say approximately. It really depends on where you live, but let's just say, another $1,500 to $2,000 on top of this $4,000 that's due at signing. Now, whenever you shop for a lease, you want to put the least amount of money down as possible. So my recommendation would be to roll in as much of this $3,986 that you can into the lease, and also try to roll in as much of this registration, tax, title, and licensing fees into the lease as you can as possible as well. In a perfect world, you want to do a true sign and drive, or at the very minimum, get away with just paying the first month's payment and then not paying anything additional when you sign your lease deal. Because remember, there's really no benefit of putting money down on a lease. All you're really doing is just prepaying your lease. Yes, a lot of people say, yeah, you have a lower payment, but all you're doing is prepaying your lease. And if something happened to that car, let's say, God forbid, you got into an accident or it got stolen, a week into after you signed your paperwork, recouping that down payment could be extremely difficult, or maybe not possible at all. Now, you also see that this car has an MSRP of $47,245, and that will come into play when we run my 1.25% rule of leasing on this particular car. And then you'll also see that you have a disposition fee of $400, and that's what you'll have to pay when you return this car back in all states except for the following states. And this lease agreement is based on 10,000 miles a year. And if you go over the 10,000 miles a year, you will pay a 20-cent per mile penalty. So if you know you're going to get 12,000 or 15,000 miles, or you drive 12 or 15,000 miles, it's better to just get a 12 or 15,000 mile a year lease up front rather than paying this 20-cent mileage penalty. Now, one thing I do want to let you guys know is that let's say you got a 10,000 mile a year lease, and then you're realizing that, hey, I'm driving 12 or 15,000 miles a year. Don't worry. Sometimes during the course of your lease, you are able to buy mileage at the contracted price. So if you know you're going to go over your mileage, just contact Hyundai Financial and see if you can buy miles at 20 cents a mile. Or sorry, not at 20 cents a mile, but at the contracted price, because this is the excess mileage penalty. So you might be able to buy miles at, let's say, 10 or 15 cents a mile. So that's a little tidbit and something that could save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on how much you drive. Now, what you're going to see, or another thing that I left out, is that you do have a residual value here of $28,347. Excuse me, it's kind of hard to see this language with this background that they have with this beach and water background, but the residual value is just pretty much stating that you can buy this car at the end of the lease term, so at the end of 33 months, for $28,347. Now, it's tough to tell whether you should do this or not. Really, the best way to find out is as you approach the end of your lease to see if you have equity in your lease. And what I mean by equity is to check and see if your car is worth more than $28,347. And if it is, there are different ways that you can realize that equity. But anyways, in this section of the video, what I want to do now is show you why this is such a tremendous lease deal in terms of value, running my 1.25% rule of leasing. So what we're going to do is we'll take the $3,986 that's due at signing, and we'll subtract the first month's payment, or the monthly payment, I should say, of $196, since that's included in the due at signing amount, and that gives me $3,790. Now what I'll do is I'll divide this by 33 to break that due at signing amount into 33 equal parts, since this is a 33-month lease, and that gives me $114. Now what I'll do is I'll take the monthly payment of $196 and add that in, and that gives me a pre-tax monthly payment of $310. And now what I'll do is I'll multiply this by 1.1, just to account for 10% sales tax on the payment. Now, where you live, it might be 7% or 6% sales tax, but where I live, it's 10%, so that's why I'm multiplying it by 1.1, and that gives me $341 a month. So what's this $341 is saying is that when I roll in this $3,986 that's due at signing into the monthly payment and include sales tax, my payment would be increased to $341 a month, but this is with $0 down, and as I said, including sales tax. So, and when you divide this number by the vehicle's MSRP, which in this case, as you can see here where my mouse cursor is, $47,245, I get 0.072. I'll multiply this by 100 to move the decimal point over 2 spots. Actually, you know what? I think I messed up that calculation. So let me just do this over. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to do 3986 minus 196 divided by 33 plus 196 times 1.1 divided by 47,245. And now I will multiply by 100 to get a percentage, and that will give me 0.72%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, anytime you have a monthly payment including sales tax with $0 down, and you take that monthly payment and you divide it by the vehicle's MSRP, and you get a number under 1.5%, that's a good lease deal. If you get a number under 1.25%, that's a great lease deal. And if you get a number under 1%, that's an amazing lease deal. And as you can see, this Hyundai Ioniq 5 is way less, or way under 1%. It's at just 0.72%. So that's what makes this such an incredible lease deal in terms of value. So not only is this a good lease deal in terms of value, but the monthly payment is also extremely low. As you saw, it's a sub $400 lease deal. So yeah, that's why I really am a big fan of this lease deal. And the Ioniq 5, if you guys have done any research, is a tremendous car, and it gets rave reviews, especially for being an electric vehicle. And the fact that this is an electric vehicle, let's not forget that you will save additional money every single month, especially if you charge at home. Now, I always tell people, if you're going to buy an electric vehicle, make sure you have a level 2 charger installed at your place of residence or where you work, and you'll easily be able to save an additional $100 to $200 a month, depending again on how much you drive. But that's where the EV savings really come in. Now let's go ahead and load up the auto loan calculator. I just want to show you what the finance payments would look like, approximately what they would look like if you were to finance this particular car, because a lot of people buy electric vehicles and they don't really realize how much money they would save if they were to just lease these same vehicles instead. So anyways, let's go ahead and use the selling price of this car. Let's use the MSRP, which is $47,245. In terms of the loan term, let's do 72 months, and let's actually do a 0% interest rate. A down payment we'll do 0. Washington, let's use a 10% sales tax rate, and then title, registration, other fees, we're just going to put 0 because we didn't do that in my 1.25% rule of leasing calculation. We didn't include title, registration, and other fees. And when you calculate the monthly payment on this car, you're going to get $656 a month. And if I show the calculator, this $341, remember, is the monthly payment with $0 down, including sales tax. So $341 a month versus $656 a month. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, hey, Ravi, but nobody's paying $47,245. Nobody's paying MSRP for this car. Okay, let's go ahead and just discount it by, let's say you got a killer deal and you got a $10,000 discount. Let's say $37,245. The monthly payment is still $517 a month. And let's say you got, I don't know, let's say you got $20,000 off. You know, it's probably not reasonable to get $20,000 off, but I just want to show you that your monthly payment, even with a selling price of $27,245 and a loan term of 72 months at a 0% interest rate, your monthly payment is still going to be more than the lease payment on this car at $341 a month. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why it makes a lot of financial sense to lease this particular car. Now, a lot of people that don't know about leasing, they don't understand how you can actually save money. Well, I think this is a prime example. I actually know of people who message me and they say they bought Hyundai Ioniq 5s 2 or 3 years ago, and they're sitting on 15, 20. I even saw one person that was $25,000 in negative equity. And I was actually watching the Dave Ramsey show a couple of weeks ago, and somebody called in with a Kia EV6. I think they had $30,000 of negative equity. So if you want to avoid negative equity and you want to lease something that's reliable, safe, under warranty, then I think this Hyundai Ioniq 5 SE is a great option, especially you have a sub $400 payment with nothing due at signing. Do you know how many people in this country have $500, $600, $700 car payments? And a lot of these people are driving 5, 6-year-old cars that are outside of warranty, or they're buying used cars and have $600, $700 monthly payments. So I think this car is a no-brainer, at least in my opinion. But I do respect everybody else's opinion as well. And leasing maybe isn't for everybody. Now, a lot of people say that, hey, you shouldn't lease a car because it's like renting a car. But remember, you can buy this car for the residual value. It may not make financial sense, but it may make financial sense. It depends what happens in the car market over the next 33 months. But you do have the option to buy this car at the end of the lease. So just remember that the next time somebody says leasing a car is just like renting a car. But if you have any questions about car leasing in general, or if you have any questions about DriveMatch.com, which is a company I co-founded where you can get amazing lease deals. They're all pre-negotiated, so you don't even have to waste time negotiating with a dealer. We had Hyundai Ioniq 5s last month. I'm not sure if we're going to have any this month. I'm pretty sure we will. So you guys can go to DriveMatch.com and check it out. But if you have any questions about DriveMatch or leasing, again, leave those questions in the comment section below and I will get back to you. But with that, I'm going to call it a video. Thank you all for watching. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.